The Bible is an idol. Now today I want to teach you on temptations. Never let yourself be tempted unless you can help it. I know when I came to Jesus, He filled me with the Holy Ghost. I'd been a country picker. I loved to sing. I had a band. I was a disc jockey at a radio station. I knew some of the country artists and all. And I loved music. Well, when I come to God, it was still in me. Remember, when you want to do good, sin is present with you. Always. You fight against your flesh. Satan brings you into the flesh. So I seen this one person. I got picking gospel music. I seen this one person, and I knew they played guitar for Ernest Tubb. And I said, how do you handle it? And they said, I don't go around it. They said, I don't listen to it no more. Stay away from it. Don't listen to it on the radio. And so I took that advice. I stayed away from it. And one time I went to church and I was outside my car and I'd listen to these gospel quartets. But as I was dialing over, this guy said, this is the #1 song in country music. And I said, who is it? You know, and I didn't know who it was. I'd been away from it for years. And he was right. Stay away from a place of temptation. Do not be tempted. Do not be tempted. It's still in you. It's still in me after all these 50 years. But it's so, they say crucify the flesh, you know, mortify the deeds of the body. And that's what you have to do. And just like people that loves to eat, I mean, they know where every biscuit is in the house. Well, stay away from foods. Don't go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Don't go to big places. This woman, her husband was helping her lose weight. They drove by a restaurant. She said, oh, it's a big steakhouse. She said, them steaks smell so good. He said, you like that? She said, yeah. So he drove back by, rolled down the window. She said, oh, that smells so good. She said, you didn't stop. He said, no. He said, I just let you smell of it again because I'm not going to. See, that's temptation. Don't let temptation lead you to a place that you can't. Them urges, you see. Like there's an old story. The country folks had manners. They wouldn't eat the last biscuit on the plate or the last pork chop. And this farm family was sitting around the table and there's one big pork chop left in the middle of the table, but 8 or 10 of them sitting around there, and they wouldn't eat it out of good manners. But a gust of wind come through and blew the lamp out, and they heard a big scream, and they got the lamp lit back, and they said, Grandpa had 5 forks sticking in the back of his hand. See? So don't go out at night. The power is in the darkness. Don't go out at night. Walk in the light. So stay away from these urges. Don't go into temptation. Do not be led into temptation. You think, I can handle the devil, I'll go right in hell. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stay away from things that tempt you. And heaven help you if you fall in love. Oh, that's the worst one. Because that's of the heart. I believe that's what Demas told Paul. He was leaving. He said, Demas has forsaken me because he's loved this present world. It's one of the hardest things. I was praying for a woman one time. She needed deliverance so bad, but she said, I love Bobby. I love Bobby. She wanted Bobby. See, and a woman's worse than a man when they fall in love. I mean, they're head over heels in love. It's the worst thing. If you feel yourself falling in love with somebody, they're not of God, you can't make it, flee. Flee fornication. Go 1,000 miles away and cry it out over there. Don't be around temptation. Stay away. I was in the West, and probably Arizona. I preached some out there in a tent. And this people, they didn't belong at my tent, really. They had a big Cadillac and had the woman had on a mint coat, it cost thousands of dollars. And this slim-like gentleman, he's gray-headed then, 60 or 70, come in there and said, I want you to pray for me. And I touched him, visions come to me, and I prophesied. And when I come back to myself, I looked and tears was falling down on the thing I had there in front of the tent. And he was crying and crying. And he said, you seen my life. He said, I was like you was. I was young, I was full of Jesus, and I was preaching, and I was studying about Jesus, and I seen this beautiful woman. And there she is. And I thought I could bring her into my world, but she brought me into her world. And I never did get back. And said, I just wanted to come back one more time. And he lost it because of love. Love's the hardest thing. Samson got his hair cut. David got in serious trouble with Bathsheba. And a girl danced before Herod and it cost John the Baptist his head. Stay away. If you feel yourself falling in love with somebody you can't have, flee. Flee, flee, flee. Don't go there. That's one of your worst. Jacob loved Rachel and he worked for her 20 years. So stay away from that. Now here's something I don't want you to ever do. You go through all these temptations I'm telling you about. Gambling, If you'd like to see the dice roll of the cards, stay away from Atlantic City or Las Vegas or Reno. Don't go to them kind of places. Stay away from temptation as much as you can. Pray. Stay out of the flesh. It'll always be with you, but you got to kill them urges. I was down in South America, Peru or somewhere, and I was praying. I was in trouble. I was telling them Bibles and idols. They got all kind of idols in some of them places. And I prayed an eloquent prayer. I thought it was the greatest prayer I ever prayed. I articulated it so good. I said, Lord, it's tough here on this earth now. And you ain't been down here, since they had Bibles and all, and you don't understand all this. Don't pray that. Don't ever pray. I don't even like to tell it. I wouldn't tell it if I wasn't going to help you. And I told him, you don't understand now. And it made him angry. And he came to me. And he was angry. And when he's angry from the top of his head to the soles of his feet. He's mad all over. It's what you call righteous indignation. And he come and told me he didn't like that. He said, I remember when they drove the nails in my hand. Boy, he scared the hell out of me. If you ain't never been rebuked by Jesus, it's like when he made up a whip and run them guys out of the temple. And he said, and I learned something. They didn't drive. You see where his feet is like that and they drove a nail down. He said they didn't drive it like that. They drive it through your ankle. Up the side of a tree. They put your legs out the side of the tree and drive it through your ankles. He said, I remember it just like it's today. Them stripes on my back for you. I remember them and a crown of thorns. Oh, he scared me. And he went away. And I said, now I'm in trouble. Jesus is angry with me and the devil is all over me in my hair. But he come back and he said, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't tell you these things. And so he didn't chasten me in his wrath. That's what David said about the Father. Said, chasten me not in your wrath. So don't tell Jesus he don't understand what you're going through. He understands more than we do. And he'll help you. So these temptations, don't be led into temptations. Don't go where there's things that will tempt you. Stay away from it. And if you get in a trap, and you're there for 20 years, if you're in an affair or something or tangled up in the world, keep praying to Jesus. Go to your closet and pray, because you're going to leave all these things someday. All this will pass away. The flesh will go back to the dust, and we'll go back to the Father of Spirit. So overcome it. Ever what you have to do. If it takes you 20 years, pray and pray. You know your heart. You know what you love. So don't ask God for temptation. You'll have plenty of them. In this world today, there's so many things that'll tempt you. I mean, they've got everything out there. Oh, I met Willie Nelson in 1955 when I was in Hawaii. And he went on with his music career, and I got into Christ, and I like my life better than I like his. So stay in the Spirit. Don't stay in the flesh. Stay in the Spirit and love God in the Spirit. Give up the things of the flesh. And if you have any money, don't let money tempt you. Put your money in some kind of a trust fund or a treasury account or something where you can be free when you get older. Do not lead yourself into temptation. Don't be led into temptations, because a lot of people can't overcome these urges. You've got to fight. You've got to fight against this sin. You live in a body of death. You've got to fight against Satan. He'll come and tempt you with everything in the world. He's smart about this. He has tried me in everything. I've cried tears all over Canada and America and South America. I've shed tears, but I fought. And I'd get in entanglement. I'd fight my way out because I love God the most. If you love God the most, you can make it. I'm telling you these things. Don't pray like I did. You'll make Jesus mad. He knows what you're going through, and He'll be there. He won't let you down. So don't give up today, or He won't be able to deliver you tomorrow. Stay in the Spirit and overcome these temptations. There'll be temptations galore. There's so many things in the world. But I'm trying to help you, Holy Ghost people, to overcome the world and love Jesus. You can do it. I done it. I'm a dumb hillbilly. It's been 50 years. But I've been through a lot of mountains and valleys and hills. But God's always been with me and delivered me. And He'll deliver you in Jesus' name.